failure, it's a word that has been used against us for as long as we can remember. From childhood, we are taught to fear it. If you don't score well in school, you're a failure. If you don't secure a good job, you're a failure. If life doesn't go according to plan, somehow you failed. But have you ever stopped and asked yourself, who decided that? Think about it. Who told you that failure defines you? Who told you that if you fall, you can never rise again? Who decided that success is the only thing that makes you valuable? We live in a world that constantly judges us based on our achievements, our titles, our bank balances. And when we don't meet those expectations, we start believing that we are not enough, that we are failures. But the truth is, failure is just a word. It's a label created by people who don't know your journey, your struggles, or the battles you fight every single day. I remember a time when I thought my life had no meaning, when everything I had once dreamed of was gone in an instant. And the world around me was quick to label me a failure. She will never walk again. She will never be able to live a normal life. Her dreams are over. And for a while I believed them. I sat in that darkness, convinced that I was nothing but a burden. But do you know what I realized? That failure was never in my hands. It was in my mind. I had a choice to accept the labels people had put on me, or to redefine what success meant for myself. And that's the same choice you have today. You are not a failure just because something didn't work out. You are not a failure because you made mistakes, because you struggled, or because you fell. No one in this world walks a straight, perfect path. No one reaches their destination without facing obstacles. The most successful people you admire today, do you think they never failed? They failed more times than they can count, but they never let those failures define them. It's easy to give up. It's easy to sit down and say, maybe this is all I am meant to be. But if you choose to rise, if you choose to keep moving forward despite everything, then you have already won. Because real success is not measured by how many times you fall. It is measured by how many times you refuse to stay down. So when the world calls you a failure, smile. Smile. Because they don't know the strength you carry within you. Smile. Because they don't know that this is just a chapter, not your whole story. Smile. Because every great story has moments of struggle before the triumph. You are not a failure. You are a fighter. And fighters don't quit. Failure is something we all fear. It's something we try to avoid. Something that makes us doubt ourselves. Something that makes us question whether we are capable, whether we are worthy. But what if I told you that failure is not the end? What if I told you that every setback is not a sign to stop, but a sign to keep going? Life has a way of testing us. It takes away what we thought was ours. It pushes us down when we least expect it. It makes us feel like we are stuck, like we are not enough. And in those moments, it's easy to believe that failure is final. That once we lose, we can never win again. But that is not the truth. The truth is that every setback is a setup for a comeback. Look at the people who inspire you, the ones who have achieved great things. Do you think their journey was easy? Do you think they never failed? The difference between them and the people who give up is simple. They refuse to let failure define them. They refuse to believe that a single loss meant the end of their story. We all have moments when we feel like everything is falling apart. When the dreams we built so carefully collapse right in front of our eyes. When the doors we were so sure would open slam shut. And in those moments we feel lost, we feel broken. But what if that loss was necessary? What if that closed door was leading you to something better? I once believed that if I lost everything, my life would have no meaning. That if I failed at something, I was not worthy of trying again. But life has a way of showing us that failure is just another way of redirecting us to where we truly belong. Sometimes the things we lose are the things that were never meant for us. And sometimes the things that break us are the things that prepare us for something greater. You see, setbacks are not punishments. They are lessons. They teach us patience, they teach us resilience, and they teach us the strength we never knew we had. And when we learn from them, when we grow from them, we realize that we are stronger than we ever imagined. Think about a bow and arrow. When you pull the arrow backward, it feels like a setback, like it's moving in the wrong direction. But the moment you let go, that same force propels it forward, further than it ever could have gone on its own. That's exactly how life works. When you feel like you are being pulled back, when everything seems to be going wrong, that is not the moment to give up. That is the moment to hold on. Because that setback is building the momentum for your comeback. You are not defined by your failures. You are defined by how you rise after them. You are defined by the strength you show when everything seems hopeless. You are defined by your ability to keep moving forward, even when the road is uncertain. So if you feel like you have lost, if you feel like you have failed, remember this, your story is not over. This is just a chapter, not the whole book. And no matter how hard it gets, no matter how impossible it seems, you have what it takes to turn things around. You are not a failure, you are a fighter. And fighters don't quit. Failure, it is a word that carries so much weight, yet it is a part of every success story. We often think that falling means we are weak, that struggling means we are incapable. But the truth is, strength does not come from never falling. It comes from choosing to rise every time we do. Life has a way of knocking us down when we least expect it. One moment, everything is going according to plan, and the next we find ourselves lost, broken, unsure of how to move forward. And in those moments, it's easy to believe that we are not meant to succeed. It's easy to sit in the darkness and tell ourselves that maybe this is where our story ends. But let me ask you, what if every fall was meant to teach you how to stand taller? What if every struggle was preparing you for something greater? We are taught to see failure as the opposite of success. But in reality, failure is a step towards success. Every person who has ever achieved something great has faced obstacles, has fallen, has struggled. The difference is they refuse to stay down. They refuse to believe that failure was the end. Think about it. When a child learns to walk, they fall countless times. But do they ever stop trying? No. Because they don't know what giving up means. They don't sit there and say, maybe walking is not for me. They simply get up and try again, and again, and again, until one day they are running. So why do we, as adults, think that falling means we should stop trying? Why do we allow one failure, one rejection, one disappointment to define our entire journey? The truth is, struggles are a part of life. They are not there to break you. They are there to make you. I remember the moments when I felt like life had taken everything away from me. Moments when I questioned whether I had the strength to move forward. But looking back, I realized those moments did not destroy me, they shaped me. They made me stronger. They made me see the kind of resilience I never knew I had. And maybe that's what your struggles are doing for you right now. You see, pain is a great teacher. It teaches you patience. It teaches you resilience. It teaches you that you are capable of surviving things you never thought you could. And every time you rise after falling, you become stronger. Every time you push forward, despite the pain, you grow. But here's the most important part: rising does not mean you won't fall again. Struggles don't just disappear overnight. There will be more challenges, more obstacles, more moments where you feel like giving up. But every time you choose to get up, every time you refuse to let failure define you, you are proving to yourself and the world that you are unstoppable. You are not weak because you fall. You are strong because you rise. You are strong because despite everything, you are still here, still trying, still believing that better days are ahead. So, if you're struggling right now, if you feel like life is too heavy, if you are questioning whether you have the strength to go on, this is your answer. Yes, you do. Yes, you are strong enough. Yes, you will rise. From the moment we are born, the world starts defining us. It tells us who we should be, what we should achieve, how we should look, and what success should mean to us. We grow up listening to voices that tell us what is possible and what is not, what we are capable of and what we are not meant for. And somewhere along the way, we stop listening to ourselves. We stop believing that we have the power to define our own worth. How often do we let society tell us who we are? How often do we measure our value based on someone else's opinion? If we fail at something, people call us weak and we believe them. If we don't meet expectations, they call us unsuccessful and we accept it as the truth. But let me ask you, who gave them the right to define your worth? Who gave them the power to decide what you can and cannot do? Your worth is not measured by the standards of this world. It is not measured by your failures, your struggles, or the opinions of those who do not know your journey. Your worth comes from within. It comes from the strength you carry, the battles you have fought, the resilience you have shown. No one else gets to decide that for you. But the problem is, we spend so much time seeking approval. We try to fit into a mold that was never made for us. We try to live up to expectations that were never ours to begin with. And in doing so, we lose ourselves. We start believing that if we don't succeed in the way the world defines success, we are not good enough. If we don't meet certain standards, we have failed. But let me tell you something, true failure is not falling short of society's expectations. True failure is living a life that is not yours. If you spend your life chasing validation from others, you will always feel like you are not enough. Because no matter how much you achieve, there will always be someone who expects more. No matter how hard you try, there will always be someone who thinks you should have done it differently. But their opinions do not define you. Their words do not determine your value. The only person who can decide who you are, the only person who can define your worth, is you. I know what it feels like to be told that you are not enough. To be told that because you have failed, you have no future. To be made to feel like your struggles have taken away your worth. But I also know what it feels like to rise despite those voices. To look at the world and say, you do not get to define me. And I want you to know that you have that same power within you. You are not defined by your past. You are not defined by the moments when you fell. You are not defined by the dreams that didn't work out, the people who left, the expectations you couldn't meet. You are defined by how you choose to move forward. You are defined by how you choose to stand tall, even when the world tells you to sit down. So stop seeking approval. Stop waiting for someone else to tell you that you are enough. You have always been enough. You have always had the strength, the courage, the resilience to create your own path. And if you have forgotten that, this is your reminder. Life is unpredictable. One moment, everything seems perfect, and the next, everything falls apart. The things we love, the people we cherish, the dreams we work so hard for, sometimes they slip away from our hands like sand. And when that happens, pain becomes inevitable. It enters our lives uninvited, making us question everything we once believed in. We all go through moments that break us. Moments when we feel lost, hopeless, defeated. Moments when we ask, why me? Why did this happen? What did I do to deserve this? And in those moments, it feels like the pain will never end. It feels like we are trapped in a storm with no way out. But here's something I have learned while pain is inevitable. Suffering is a choice. There was a time when I thought pain would define the rest of my life. That I would always carry the weight of my struggles. That I would always be a prisoner of my past. But I realized something: pain itself does not destroy us. It is what we do with that pain that determines the kind of life we live. You see, pain is a teacher. It teaches us what happiness never could. It shows us the strength we never knew we had. It reminds us that even in our darkest moments, we have the ability to rise. But suffering, that is something we create. Suffering comes when we hold on to the pain, when we refuse to let go, when we choose to relive the hurt over and over again. Life will always have challenges. There will always be moments of loss, moments of disappointment, moments of failure. But what matters is how we respond to those moments. Do we let them break us, or do we let them shape us? I know what it feels like to be stuck in pain, to wake up every morning and feel like nothing will ever be the same again, to carry the burden of what ifs and if onlys. But I also know that no matter how deep the pain, healing is possible. No matter how heavy the past, it does not have to define the future. We do not get to choose what happens to us, but we do get to choose what we do with it. We can choose to stay in the pain, to let it consume us, to let it become our identity. Or we can choose to rise, to learn, to grow, to turn that pain into power. The past cannot be changed, but the future is still in your hands. And no matter how much you have been hurt, no matter how many times life has knocked you down, you are still here. You are still standing. You are still capable of turning your pain into purpose. So, Let go of the suffering. Let go of the belief that your pain has to define you. Let go of the idea that just because something broke you, you can never be whole again. You are stronger than you think. You are more powerful than your pain. And no matter how dark it gets, you have the light within you to find your way again. We are all afraid of failure. It is something we try to avoid, something that makes us question ourselves, something that makes us feel unworthy. But have you ever asked yourself, what is failure really? Is it falling short of a goal? Is it making a mistake? Is it losing something or someone? Or is it something much deeper than that? The world tells us that failure is the opposite of success. That if you don't achieve what you set out to do, you have failed. That if you don't meet expectations, you are not good enough. And we start believing that every setback, every rejection, every disappointment means we are not capable, not deserving. But let me tell you something, failure is not when you fall. Failure is when you refuse to get back up. Think about it. Every person you admire, every success story you have ever heard is built on failures. Every great leader, every innovator, every artist, every athlete has failed more times than they can count. They have faced rejection, loss, and defeat. But what makes them different? They never stopped trying. They never accepted failure as the final chapter of their story. They understood that failure is not the end, it is part of the journey. If you fail at something, it does not mean you are not capable. It does not mean you are not meant for greatness. It simply means you are learning. Every time you fail, you gain wisdom. You understand what doesn't work, and that brings you one step closer to what does. Every mistake you make teaches you something valuable. Every setback prepares you for a greater comeback. But here's where most people go wrong, they give up too soon. They let failure convince them that they are not good enough. They let fear stop them from trying again. And that is the only real failure, never trying again. When a baby learns to walk, they fall countless times. But do they ever stop trying? Do they ever decide that walking is not for them? No, because they don't know what giving up means. They simply keep going, and one day they take their first step. That is how life works. If you stop trying, you will never know how close you were to success. Many times in life, we give up right before things start to change. We think we have failed too much, that we are too late, that we are not capable. But what if you are just one more try away from making it? What if the very next attempt is the one that works? You see, failure is never about falling. It is about refusing to rise. It is about letting your fear control you. It is about choosing to stay down when you still have the strength to stand. But if you decide right now that no matter how many times you fall, you will always rise, then you have already won. So don't let failure define you. Don't let mistakes make you believe you are not worthy. You are not your failures. You are your resilience, your courage, your ability to keep moving forward even when everything seems impossible. That is what truly defines you. Life will test you. It will push you down, break you, and make you question your worth. But remember this, every setback is temporary, every failure is a lesson, and every fall is an opportunity to rise stronger. You are not defined by the moments when you break, but by the moments when you choose to rebuild yourself. So don't fear failure. Don't let the world tell you that you are not enough. Don't let pain turn into suffering. Instead, stand tall, embrace your struggles, and turn them into your strength. Because the truth is, you are more powerful than your circumstances, more capable than your doubts, and more resilient than you ever imagined. No matter how many times you fall, promise yourself that you will always rise. Because you are not a failure, you are a fighter. And fighters don't quit. Good luck on your journey, and may you always find the courage to rise after every fall. Thank you.